The specification I read when I got here is like no specification I've ever read in my life, and I've read hundreds of them. Anything that lowers our carbon footprint is good for the planet.
I've worked on all various infrastructure, bridges, tanks, anything steel, and most recently in the Port of Providence on wind turbines.
We work on the different sections of the windmill before they get assembled. So we paint everything first, make sure we got all the right mills, everything's up to spec, and then offshore they then have more painters touch everything up after everything gets bolted down. So it's more of a protection coating that we're putting on, but it makes it look good too.
This was the very first in the United States. This right here. The guts that go inside the monopiles were all built in the Port of Providence. I think we did a very good job here.
Yeah, I think climate change, especially these days, is often presented as a political issue, and it's not. It's something we're all facing. And when we're talking about green jobs, I think there's a lot of maybe confusion about what those jobs are, but really it can be anything like corrosion prevention, right? Having folks who are maintaining our infrastructure, offshore wind technician.
Why wouldn't we try if it's possible to, help the planet and help the people that are on the planet while we're doing the work? Why not be most efficient at it?
We have a saying in the building trades that we don't care what color a job is, whether it's green, whether it's fossil fuels, or what it is. If it's work hours for our members, we're going to go after it. I also happen to be the father of two very young little girls, and I want to see a planet and a future for them. And so we want to see renewable energy be something that's not just good for the environment, but good for working class people. We've been putting in a ton of effort to organize these industries, and we've had massive work hours on the installation, maintenance, and assembly of offshore wind components and turbines. We're able to say, okay, that's great that you have a concern about how energy is produced, but let's be efficient when we're doing it, knowing that you have people that have the expertise and skill set, demonstratable certification to go in, do the work in a building, get it right the first time around.
For me and my family, like we said, it was a lot of hours, so it definitely helps, that kind of hours making that money. As far as environmental, you definitely see like the impact that it will have as far as generating, We're working on a substation, an unmanned one, so we had to make sure everything was good to go, because once we leave, it's not gonna be, you're not gonna be having people going up there and doing maintenance regularly on it. So that was the importance of them having union painters out there as opposed to non-union painters in doing it. So they needed people with certifications who properly knew how to apply coatings.
That's what we worked on. Over 2 years, and the hourly rate was over $50 an hour. I think it was 54 that we started at, and we got 2 raises in that time.
As tradespeople, we ply our trade regardless of what the project is. We can't change what types of projects we're working on, but we know that we need to have the skills available for the projects of the future. For any of us who care much about this issue, we understand that the largest carbon footprint is from buildings. And the best way to address that is with skilled tradespeople who have the appropriate certifications to make a difference in our world.
It's going into a very, very, very tough environment because it's going to be offshore, salt water. Everything has to be sealed. Each level has to be sealed. So if you don't protect it properly, you're not going to get the 20 years or 25 years, which is the expectancy of some of these turbines.
It all goes hand in hand. They are the people who are going to make that transition possible. They're the ones who do the job, and therefore our purpose is to make sure that as we transition to the green economy, they also are not forgotten. As a union, as a force, we can accomplish everything together, and all hardships are all connected.
Green jobs or any union jobs are a life changer for people like me. Before joining the union, I was working 2 and 3 jobs, never had health insurance, and was still living paycheck to paycheck despite working as much as I possibly could. So it was a life changer for me, for sure.
I feel like the green energy is definitely a better route. Being stuck in fossil fuels is we already know that route. There are not any more fossil fuels that are going to be made, you know what I mean? So it's not renewable. We need something that's, a renewable resource that people can use going further, you know, in the long term rather than short term.
I grew up in Rhode Island, so I spent a lot of time on the water. So that's something that's always been special to me. Anything I can do to preserve that is a plus. And if I can get paid to do it, that's even better.